And I am Portia Gabo.
And I am Martin Asiedu Date. Coming up in the headlines.
News 360 Headlines is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint. Superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage, simply superior.
Tonight, organized labor kicks against new tax bills, threatening protest as experts predict even more difficult period for Ghanaians.
Also tonight, Opposition National Democratic Congress parliamentary vetting underway. We will bring you live reports.
Oil prices slam, but what is in store for consumers after OPEC announces surprise oil production cut of more than 1 million barrels daily? We'll engage some experts.
In business news tonight, 3Business in collaboration with the Africa Center for Energy Policy and Nimani Africa to host the business community in the premier edition of the Economic Sustainability Summit in Accra.
On the international front, former U.S. President Donald Trump leaves Florida for New York ahead of tomorrow's arraignment in a Manhattan courthouse. We have details of all these stories and more, and you can also be a part of the show. Let us know what your thoughts are on the stories. I'll be happy to share them with the rest of the world.
The news now in detail, and the passage of the 3 revenue bills last Friday has opened up what many experts say could become an even more complicated period for Ghanaians. My colleague Judith Awachitando has been gauging the reaction from multiple sources.
Honourable members, with this, the excise duty Amendment Bill 2022 is read the third time and passed.
Brace up. You may be about to pay more on your monthly earnings or the regular things you buy. This is after the Parliament of Ghana passed 3 revenue bills in a long session last week before their Easter break. The excise duty, growth and sustainability, and income tax amendment bills went through a closely contested vote of 137 to 136 after intense lobbying by the MPP government. But in reality, what does this mean for me, you, and the regular business person, or the giant company?
It essentially means that for manufacturers or importers who would be paying the excise duties, every product they manufacture or import will see an increase in costs. Obviously, the consumer remains the most affected. Now, for companies which will be affected by the growth and sustainability bill, they will now have a percentage of their profit going into taxes. And as every wise company will do, they might have to consider increasing costs of services to make up for the loss. Again, the consumer bears the cost. Now, the income tax, on the other hand, will affect high-income earners as they will be made to pay more taxes. In effect, everyone will bear the brunt.
The ruling government was desperate for the bill to go through, given its potential ramifications on the country's revenue base.
America is ready for us. Germany has been here. The finance minister has been. The Europeans are behind us. The fund is behind us. It's left of our own parliament. It can't be that we'll shoot ourselves in the foot.
But only a few years ago, the same government seemed completely unhappy with the concept of raising more revenue via taxes. Take, for instance, this comment by current Vice President Bawumia.
The MPP will shift the focus of economic policy away from taxation to production. So we are going to move away from taxation to production. From taxation to production.
Experts suggest the current trend is not dissimilar. Economist Priscilla Chumesi says it is important to focus on spending as much as revenue.
On the bit of discretionary expenditures where you talk about government infrastructure projects and other things, and also when you look at the government machinery itself in terms of number of ministers, number of government appointees and all that. I mean, all these are a drain on the budget. So when you look at the expenditure side, we want to see some commitment.
The latest bills could trigger significant disaffection among the country's workforce. So just how have people been reacting to this?
The country is very hard. and they are bringing these new taxes. We'll talk about it, but they won't listen to us. It will affect us. Now things are not going on well. Business are not going on well. Companies are suffering. And you are bringing these new taxes. What for?
For my company like this, when these taxes are being applied to it, it's going to affect my salary as well. So it's either my salary will be stagnant or it will decrease. I'm a student as well. I'll find it difficult in paying fees. I'll find it difficult in buying things for myself, in paying rent and all that.
With the new taxes, government is expected to rake in an annual income of 400 million from excise duties, 2.2 billion from growth and sustainability tax, and 1.2 billion from income tax. Judith Awuchitando, TV3 News.
In a related development, though, organised labour has kicked against the new tax bills passed by Parliament. The Trades Union Congress, TUC, and the National Association of Graduate Teachers, NAGRAT, have threatened to protest if deductions are made from workers' salaries.
Parliament has passed the 3 revenue bills to raise over 4 billion cedis to shore up government revenue. But the Trades Union Congress and the National Association of Graduate Teachers, NAGRAT, are concerned about the ripple effects on public sector wages and on businesses.
Just by a political fiat, Treasury bill rates were brought down. Not because of demand and supply, not the market factors playing anything. It's just by a political fiat that we have Treasury bill rates come down. Just last week, policy rates have been increased. Businesses are now going to pay more. The excise tax and all the 3 taxes that we're talking about are all going to affect businesses. So there's going to be a state of economic malaise that is going to affect the people. They increase salaries by 30%. The next day they increase electricity tariffs by 29.9% and increase water by about some 15%. And now you bring in income tax. So where is the 30%? It's been eroded. If by the end of April we see a dip in our salaries, we don't have a choice than to advise ourselves.
Increase in taxes has its own positive and negatives. And the negative effects of increment in taxes is that manufacturers, companies, who produce locally, when the tax burden is too much, the only effect or the only action they take is to reduce employment. So this one is going to affect employment. Management are going to lay off workers if they are unable to pay their taxes, or they are not to meet their income as against their expenditure.
He said the TUC will monitor how government will utilize the revenue from the new taxes.
We are worried, and we don't know whether this time around the expected income from this taxes that they have increased is going to be used for what it meant for. Because all the time the increased taxes, they come with reasons why they are increasing taxes. They are going to do ABC, but at the end of the day, nothing is done. That is why we know that taxes are for development, but when we pay, we don't see the development that we envisage. So nobody will be happy to pay tax and doesn't see the corresponding development in the country.
All right, so it looks as though many are averse to this tax that has been passed by Parliament. We are awaiting presidential assent to it, then it kicks in. But it's not everybody that is against these taxes. Labram Masaudu Musa is the Director of Vision for Alternative Development, one of the groups that petitioned Parliament to pass the Excise Duty Amendment Bill, which is one of the 3 bills that were passed by Parliament. He's joined us via Zoom for a quick chat on this. Labram, a very good evening to you. Thank you for your time.
Very good evening to you and your cherished viewers.
Right, to start with, you and your group were in favor of passing the specific tax, which has to do with the excise duty amendment, and then you are saying that there is good reason behind it. What really is your justification for this?
Thank you very much for the opportunity, and let me use the opportunity to thank the Ministry of Finance and Parliament for the yeoman's work, because indeed for us, we believe that this particular tax we are talking about, the Excise Duty Amendment Bill, also known as Health Promotional Bill, and also known as corrective bill. In fact, this kind of bill is a behavioral type of bill which seeks to reduce the untold hardship that, these products that we are talking about here today, tobacco, alcohol, sugar-sweetened beverages, imposes on us as people. So obviously, having heard this one, it tells you that indeed there's a need for government all over the globe to come out with mechanisms that would reduce the exposure of people, including the fact that this is increasing the disease burden of individuals, the economy, and even at the national level. So for us, when the bill was proposed, we were extremely happy, and we support government entirely for this passage.
And so you are not in favor of it politically, but then on the health side, you think that because there are health conditions that are all things that lead to health complications that are going to be taxed, that's why you are in favor of this bill?
Precisely, because see, in fact, and that's why I told you earlier, excise duty amendment bills or excise duty are bills that are for promotional, health promotional consequences, corrective bills. Now, if you look at the increasing, rate at which people are dying from these cancers, non-communicable diseases, cardiovascular diseases, heart diseases, chronic respiratory diseases, these are all as a result of, our exposure to, commodities like tobacco, and other things that I mentioned to you. So normally it's incumbent on every government to look at policies like this, just so we're able to reduce, especially for our kids, so who are mostly, the target of these industries. And you and I know that currently there's a rise in non-communicable diseases.
Right.
Go to the hospital today, talk to the doctors. They will tell you that now diseases are on the increase. And the increase is as a result of the risk factors that government has currently imposed taxes on. And let me say that the taxes do, indeed, government will get revenue as well, because it's estimated from our end that when government imposes this tax, our estimation, government is going to raise about 1 billion, Ghana cedis from sugar-sweetened beverages. It's also going to raise...
And that's where the problem is, you and many others are also of the view that this is going to put extra pressure on our pockets or the pocket of the everyday Ghanaian. Aren't there other ways we can deal with health-related products in the country rather than taxing them?
But see, that's one of the best and most recommended by WHO, by UNDP, and by many development organizations. Many countries have tried this. The Philippines, the Thailand, South Africa. Here, everybody is now going taxes because taxes reduces. In fact, it helps to reduce the extent to which the poor, first and foremost, and then children. These are our target. The rich man, me and you probably, we've already made our mind, if you're not going to drink, won't drink, if you won't smoke. But the point is that the target of the industry has always been our children. So the taxes for us is a good measure, and that's one of the best ways that you can. Indeed, you can also create awareness. But if you create awareness and you don't have, policies or regulations to back, your policies, it doesn't go anywhere.
Okay.
What is the industry talking about? The industry is just talking about their business collapsing. They're talking about, the fact that the unemployment issue will rise. The point for us is if you look at the cost-benefit analysis,
right,
looking at how much government spend to cure for people who are suffering from these diseases, and look at how much revenue government will get. In fact, it is unmatched.
Okay.
The burden is just so much. So we applaud Parliament, and we are calling on the industry to at least look at public health. Aspect of it, and not always what they to get from their pocket.
Thank you so much, Labram Musa, who is the Executive Director for Vision for Alternative Development. Thank you for your time this evening on News 360.
Let's continue with the rest of our stories and the latest controversy surrounding the arrest of 4 persons belonging to a gang by the police has raised once again the thorny issue of police investigating hitmen. While the service says the men in custody attacked personnel of the Axim patrol team, it is emerging the suspects were demanding their share of monies extorted from illegal miners with the connivance of the police. Komla Adom in this report takes a look at the development and renewed calls for an independent commission to probe such incidents.
It is another test case for the police. Not the first time any of the personnel of a service will be embroiled in a controversial matter. But if you saw the viral video of a gang attacking the police officers in Axim, you would suspect threat of harm. But it is emerging the policemen were negotiating with the attackers to be released. Leader of a gang has been speaking about the circumstances under which they accosted the policemen.
We work with the police to extort monies from many Galamsey sites.
This is contrary to information released by the police service over the weekend about the retrieval of some arms and cartridges from the suspects.
The guns that were retrieved are not for us.
The police says it has referred the claims of extortion contained in that video to the Police Professional Standards Bureau, PIPS. But that is where the problem is. The police cannot investigate itself. That has been a call that's long been championed by civil society groups, human rights advocates and other individuals in society.
I lead the team to sites and I give them the extorted monies.
And for the umpteenth time, there are fresh calls for the establishment of an independent investigative body to look into some of these matters. Security analyst Emmanuel Kuting cannot emphasize this enough.
Lovers of democracy, civil voices must amplify this call. That it is about time we have an independent police commission not headed by the police. Because the state we are at the moment, the police cannot investigate its own. The lenses and intelligence are picked. This police officer is not alone. There are other police officers involved.
Wants the 4 suspects who are currently in custody to be treated as informants rather than criminals.
We need to do an audit of the current personnel we have in the system. If it was in other jurisdictions, the civilians would have been treated as informants, if you like, or people of interest who can help the case of the police. Because the conduct of the police personnel was very untenable, to the extent that civilians can disarm a trained police officer with an AK-47 is very troubling. So for us to treat the suspects as criminal, we should rather treat the suspects as people who can help unravel the circumstances leading to certain police personnel colluding with illegal miners.
It's now the word of the police on one hand versus that of a gang. And like many other cases in the past, we may just not see the end of this one unless the Inspector General of Police decides to make an example of a case in point.
In other news tonight, the price of liquefied petroleum gas, LPG, has seen a reduction at various retail outlets. The drop in price has been attributed to the stability of the cedi to the US dollar and the decline in the price of crude oil on the international market.
The Institute of Energy Security predicted a 9% reduction in the price of liquefied petroleum gas in the first pricing window of April. LPG was selling for 15 cedis 30 pesos per kilogram in March. But a kilogram of LPG now sells at 13 cedis 57 pesos from 15 cedis 30 pesos during the previous pricing window.
which is 86 Ghana cedis, 14.5 and 207. Before now, 225. When I see about 207, hope the government to look at it and just bring it down a little.
Others insist the price is still high.
With this, previously we filled it 80 cedis, and now it's 110 cedis to have it full. So reduction from the world market, we don't even experience any significant improvement as to the way we buy it.
In recent times, we are paying more. Our expense has really increased, and we are having a little bit of challenges as well in terms of running the business, because if we were paying less by then and now we are paying more, financially we are being affected.
The 2 to 5% reduction in price of petrol and diesel projected by industry players is yet to be effected.
Let's broaden the conversation. We know that in the last few months, especially here in Ghana, we have seen fuel prices either be stable or go down. But on the international community or the international market, oil prices have shot up marginally. This is because the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, and Saudi Arabia have decided to cut production of crude or oil by some percentage. Let's engage the thoughts of Executive Director of the Africa Center for Energy Policy, Ben Boakye, who's joined us via Zoom. Mr. Boakye, good evening. Thank you for your time.
Pleasure to be on, my brother.
Right, we would look at the direct impact or indirect impact on Ghana. But first of all, do we know what is accounting for, the OPEC countries to decide to start cutting production of oil?
I think, as they always do, they try to regulate the price so that it doesn't fall below their expectation, because oil is produced at a cost, and you always want to stay above a certain cost curve so that, they can recover their cost and make a margin. So what OPEC does is to prevent glut in the system. That is to make sure that there isn't too much oil on the market to affect how much they can sell the oil and make losses, but rather look for some gains from the production of oil. So essentially, that's what they've been trying to do over the years,
right?
And exactly what they will do now.
Right, and like my earlier submission was that Ghana has enjoyed some reduction at the pumps, especially since the beginning of the year. Will this decision by OPEC affect us in any way? That when we go to the pumps, we are likely to now start buying at a higher cost. And when is that likely to take effect?
From where we sit, it is our expectation that the prices will go up, all things being equal. If the market is working as it has been, then prices should go up. We saw prices decline to close to $70 per barrel. Today, it's trading around 82. Even earlier in the day, it was about $85 per barrel. If it stays the same or goes higher, that pass-through effect ought to happen. But when the prices kept declining and hit almost 70, the government kept saying that, it wasn't the international market, but rather it was the effect of the gold for oil. This is a test case, for us to know whether indeed the gold for oil is able to push the price down, even when the international market is dictating different prices. So if we are to hold that position as true, that it was rather gold for oil, then we should expect that prices will either stay the same or even decline.
Right.
So we hope to see what happens in the course of the weeks ahead of us.
You mentioned that the gold for oil will be a test case to see how long we will be able to survive this decision by OPEC to cut. But briefly and finally, have we been able to store enough, as a country, now that fuel prices were low? And going forward, how long can what we have been able to store sustain us until the changes take effect?
I don't know that the volumes that we do have. I know we have significant volumes from bust. They've been struggling to sell in recent times because their prices are higher than the average market from private sector. So maybe this will be an opportunity for them to adjust the prices or stay within to be able to recover their investment. The private sector also has some stock, but usually when prices go up, they also have to adjust their prices to be able to go for the next consignment. So the next window obviously will determine what the adjustment will be like, but it's likely that we may, if the prices don't come down on the international market, we may see an adjustment at the pump.
Right, Mr. Boakye, thank you so much for your time this evening. Ben Boakye, Executive Director for the Africa Center for Energy Policy.
In more news tonight, veteran of parliamentary aspirants of the National Democratic Congress is underway. Acting Director of Elections, Daniel Amate-Mensah, tells TV3 a team is on standby to resolve matters that may arise from the process before the primaries on May 13.
Voting is currently being conducted in 31 out of the 34 constituencies in the Greater Accra region. 111 persons are aspiring to be parliamentary candidates for the 2024 elections. They include incumbent members of parliament. Of the figure, 23 of them are females and 88 males. Acting Director of Elections, Daniel Amate-Mensah, said persons being vetted must have a vision for the constituency, among others, to qualify.
We at the head office here have a rapid response center. If the vetting need any information from their regions for us to cross-check, we have a team that is doing that, assisting them so that at the end of the day, they will arrive at a decision that will go a long way to enhance the party's chances. First of all, you must be a member of the party in good standing. Any aspirant who want to contest in good standing should be somebody who has been with the party for the past 4 years. We don't want aspirant who will get to parliament and then when you say they should do it, then you somebody who is committed to the cause and the ideals of the party.
He explained why sitting MPs who show interest again also go through the vetting process.
Sitting MPs will not go through rigorous vetting because they have met the basic requirement. You can't say sitting MPs are not contributing to the constituency. They attend funeral, they spend a lot of money, they pay school fees, they pay people medical bill, party members medical bill. That's enough. But every candidate must be vetted. You may also need to find out from the MP what intend doing to enhance or improve upon the vote you attained 4 years ago. I was just coming from Greater Accra. When I got there, they are vetting the MP for Sigi. The constituency executives were there, the regional executive were there, the vetting committee also sitting. There may be information from somebody from the regional executive that the vetting committee may not know. Might have passed it on to the vetting committee to find out from the MP.
Amate-Mensah said the 3 constituencies in the Greater Accra region, namely Ododo-Diodio, Ayawaso Central and Amasaman, and just like some others across the country, have been withheld for strategic reasons.
Let's now cross over to the Greater Accra Regional Office of the NDC to get some updates on the vetting process, which is currently underway. And Christian Yale, our reporter, joins me via Zoom. Thank you so much for your time, Christian. What is the process like so far?
All right, so thank you, Portia. So far, it has been a charged atmosphere here at the NDC Greater Accra Regional Office. Today, we are expecting a total of 11 constituencies to be vetted. And so far, the likes of Shai Osudoku, Okaipe North, we've also had Domi Kwabenya, and a few other constituencies that have gone through the vetting process successfully. Sege constituency has been postponed to tomorrow because there were issues with some 3 aspirants. But as of now, we just ended with the Madina constituency where we had one of the contenders in the person of Prince Moses Zakari disqualified. Now he has been disqualified because he used to be a general secretary of the United Front Party. So the party has disqualified him, even though he argues that he has for a long time dissociated himself from that party and is now a full NDC member. So as it stands now, Francis Xavier Sosu is going unopposed in the marginal constituency. Now, he says he's elated about the development, and he thinks that this is a victory well ahead of the 2024 elections, as he believes John Mahama is going to get a convincing victory, and he would also get a convincing victory in the Medina constituency. Just when I was about joining you, John Dumelo, who is contesting the Ayawaso West Wogon seat, has just arrived. As you could hear the noise in the background, he would be vetted today. I know all these debates and brouhaha surrounding his candidature and that of his very good friend Fred Nuama is one thing that a lot of people are looking forward to, and we will try to get some answers from him as to what the plan looks like going ahead. But as of now, about 5 constituencies have been vetted. Tomorrow, 10 constituencies, and then on Wednesday too, we'll have 10 constituencies that'll be vetted. That'll be a wrap for the Greater Accra Regional vetting for the NDC Parliamentary Primaries. Portia.
Now, Christian, are they told they are disqualified immediately at the vetting?
Yes, you are told immediately. So there are a number of guidelines that the vetting committee here considers. So when you come, they make all those guidelines and plans and measures available to you. They let you understand why you'd be disqualified. So in the case of Moses Zakari, who has been disqualified from contesting in Medina, he was told that the party cannot allow him, contest in the name of the party because of his past, being the general secretary of the UFP. So he knows outrightly that he has been disqualified due to his former position. So it is done for all other candidates who be disqualified. You'll be told right away the reasons for your disqualification.
Thank you so much for your time, Christian Yale, at the Greater Accra Regional Office of the NDC.
We stay with the NDC, where scores of party executives, some members of parliament in the northern region and supporters earlier today massed up at the Tamale High Court to solidarize with the member of parliament for Savelugu, Alhaji Idris Jacob, who over a bench warrant issued by the court to get the member of parliament arrested. The Savelugu lawmaker, together with the chief of Duko, Na Mohammed Ahmed, are facing trial over counts of unlawful possession of firearm.
On December 8, 2020, a day after the 2020 general elections, police found an AK-47 assault rifle alongside 60 rounds of ammunition in an office said to be linked to the Savelugu MP. The MP, together with the chief of Doku, Na Mohammed Ahmed, who was also said to have a round of G3 ammunition, a BB live cartridge, and 72 rounds of AK-47 ammunitions, were invited by the Northern Regional Police Command to assist police investigations. The two were charged on various counts of unlawful possession of firearms and were subsequently granted bail after the matter was sent to court. However, the MP failed to appear before the Tamale High Court on several occasions that the case was called. But appearing in court, hundreds of party supporters, including some members of parliament and regional executives of the NDC, accompanied the MP. A confrontation ensued between the supporters and police. Addressing journalists after proceedings, Member of Parliament for Tamale South constituency, Haruna Idrisu, explained why the MP was unable to appear in court on March 31.
On some tax legislation, the judge did not find that convincing enough. So that is where the law, we have to see how to evolve our democracy and our jurisdictional law further, in saying that under circumstances of a member of parliament seeking and wanting to exercise a lawful mandate imposed on him as a representative of the people, he does have an obligation to the people of Savelugu, to the people of Ghana, and in particularly with the distressed economy, to join to support or disapprove of some tax motion. That is one.
Now the news, Lemonade Finance has donated assorted food items and cash to the Nyamidua Orphanage Home. The gesture forms part of the company's corporate social responsibility.
Lemonade Finance is an electronic platform which allows individuals and institutions abroad to send stress-free limitless remittances to their families in Ghana. The platform also gives users instant cashback reward when using promotional codes. The items include rice, oil, assorted beverages.
We should give back. We should help these kids. We should find ways, the best way that we can support them. I spoke to them, we're like, oh, they need a few things, cash donation. Also, everybody eats. So we had to provide food items. We provided them with school bags, matters, bottles to, make them feel loved and then also make them feel appreciated. We are all the same.
Dolores Frimpong Manson, also known as Delay, is a brand ambassador for Lemonade Finance.
You can send money from abroad to Ghana and some parts of Africa on the Lemonade Finance app, and the magic is that you're not going to pay any charges. And I keep saying that once you use the promo code DELAY2, you get your cash back. You're going to be given your £10 sterling if you are in the UK, 10 Canadian dollars if you are in Canada, and 10 US dollars if you are in the USA. So just download the Lemonade Finance app and start using it.
Founder of Nyamidua Orphanage, Paul Anaba, lauded the intervention.
This is what we are all looking for. We want people to help us give back to society. It's very terrible that you see the children at the traffic light. I mean, you can see that their life is just at stake. So if Lemonade Finances and Delay can come in and then we have money to pay their school fees and all that, I say God richly bless them.
The Lemonade Finance app is compatible with all Android and iOS devices and can be downloaded from Google Play Store.
You're also watching News 360 on TV3. We have business for you right after this. Stay with us.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to demonstrate to you the superior properties of Flamingo paint. As compared to other paint brands on the market, we take equal quantities of Flamingo paint and this ordinary paint. We then dilute them with water. And now, let the test begin. The gentleman on the left is going to apply the ordinary paint, and the gentleman on my right will use the Flamingo superior paint. As you can clearly see, Flamingo has the obvious better hiding. Furthermore, Flamingo has painted a much larger area. You know, one bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint is made with superior formulation to give superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior.
Are you tired of struggling with bad financial situations? At Quick Credit, we understand the difficulties that come with transitioning to a better one. That's why we're here to simplify the process for you. With loan facilities from 1,500 cedis upwards, all you have to do is call and we will take care of the rest. All you need is your national ID. No savings, no collateral, no susu, no deposits, and no account opening required. Quick Credit has you covered. Whether you're expanding a business, starting a new one, facing an emergency like school fees or funeral expenses, or even just in need of a salary loan. What are you waiting for? Call Quick Credit today. 0302 200 390 or 059 692 0833. We do not give loans via the internet. Quick Credit is regulated and licensed by the Bank of Ghana. Terms and conditions apply. Quick Credit. Lending made simple.
The sweet scent of rose in the morning brings me so much joy. Inspired by damask rose and infused with 100% natural rose oil. Introducing new Clay Soft Perfume Beats Washing Powder. It's like bringing a garden with you everywhere with this wonderful perfume. Take a garden with you everywhere you go with Clay Soft Perfume Beats Washing Powder.
The business segment is brought to you by MTN.
And she's back after a break. Menuafo, thank you so much for joining us. What's up with 3 Business?
Well, we have something very special cooking for the general public and the business environment. You have the details in the bulletin. Right. Welcome to the business segment. I am Menuafo. So 3 Business, in collaboration with the Africa Center for Energy Policy and Imani Africa, will host the business community in the premier edition of the Economic Sustainability Summit in Accra tomorrow, Tuesday, April 4. Discussants will focus on the drivers and sustainable management of Ghana's public debt and the impact of the ongoing debt restructuring program on the economy.
The 3 Business Sustainability Summit has become necessary due to Ghana's mounting debt and the way forward for the economy as the country readies itself for an IMF program. Despite the pressing need to address factors driving Ghana's debt, the potential socio-economic implications of the country's approach towards debt restructuring has received limited attention. The summit will lead discussions to find out other drivers that trigger the accumulation of debt and also identify solutions that will ensure the long-term sustainability of the economy.
What we have seen as causes for the recurrent, subscription to IMF program is that there are other factors that we are ignoring and just hoping that the IMF programs would provide a sustainable path for our economic growth and debt sustainability. The reality is that IMF hasn't fixed the problem, and that's why we keep going back to them. So in this summit, we're trying to have a conversation that look at other fiscal and governance problems that keep triggering the debt unsustainability and begin to really address those problems.
The main speakers at the summit are economist Professor Godfrey Bokpin, Executive Director at the Africa Center for Energy Policy, Benjamin Boakye, Founding President, Imani Africa, Franklin Cudjoe, economist Kwame Pianim, Davis Ofosu Dote, Senior Partner, AB and David Africa, Executive Chairman of Cleveland Tove, Senyo Hosi. The 3 Business Economic Sustainability Summit is on the theme Ghana's Debt Crisis, Striking the Balance Between Economic Growth and Fiscal Responsibility.
Do make a date with us tomorrow at 10 a.m. at the Marriott Hotel. In more news, the Association of Ghana Industries has kicked against the new taxes approved by Parliament, asking government to deal with its fiscal indiscipline rather than overburdening the industry with taxes and levies. Instead, the Greater Accra president of the Association of Ghana Industries, Chonam Akpelo, urged governments and the relevant institutions to deploy efficient technological means of collecting revenue from existing avenues to cushion the economy.
Government at this stage should come up with some special concessionary package for industries to cushion them. And some of these taxes should be done in a way that industries should be considered for significant support and exemption. It's rather important for government to deal with its own fiscal issues as opposed to transferring all the issues to industry to bear. So for us in industry, at this stage, we can only appeal to government to really take the matter affecting industry as a matter of urgency and ensure that steps are taken to mitigate all of these and put industry in a path that allow for continuous employment and growth.
And away from that, OPEC Plus has announced a surprise oil production cut that will exceed 1 million barrels a day, abandoning previous assurances that it would hold supply steady to maintain a stable market. An energy analyst, Dr. Yusuf Suleimana, says the impact of the decision on the local pumps will be marginal.
It will just mean that we're going to have a bit of tightness at the pumps. However, we may not see that increment at the pump, but we may see a reduction in the rate at which the pump would have gone down. And I'm saying that because, fortunately, the exchange rate at this moment is working to the favor of Ghanaians. So if the exchange rate dynamics continue to be stable as it is, or if it appreciates further, at this moment in time, will not have that significant impact in terms of shooting the pump prices upwards. But what it will likely do, it will reduce the quantum at which the pump prices would have reduced. But what does it do to the entire global market? I think if such a thing is to crystallize us again, I just want to believe that it's going to add a little bit more to the inflationary pressures. Because the producers should also know that inflationary pressures is not good for anybody at all. That has a tendency to lead to an economic recession, if prolonged.
And that's how we wrap up the business segment. Just a reminder to make a date with us tomorrow for our Sustainability Summit. We'll be live on all our social media platforms, also on TV3 and 3FM. We bring it to an end. I am Minu Afo. Stay with us for sports.
Every child is so unique.
You like no other.
Outstanding in every way.
It's me like no other.
So anytime you walk and play,
you like no other.
You are special like Indomie.
It's me like no other.
Did you know that every child on the planet has their own unique fingerprint like no other?
You like no other. I can play the drums. I'm talented. It's me like no other. I can sing. I can dance. You like no other.
As well as their own unique talents and abilities.
I can cook. I can paint. You like no other. Indomie. It's you like no other.
So every day, in whatever you do, remember you are special in your own way, like no other.
Thank you, Mom, for letting me know I'm special and for making me my special Indomie. Thank you, Mommy.
Introducing Indomie beef flavor. Buy now.
This advert is FDA approved.
Water is life. Water gives life. Water moves through nature in a never-ending cycle. Observe the beauty of water as it flows all around us, refreshing and restoring. Gaze in wonder at the stillness and beauty of nature. There's harmony in nature everywhere around you. Water revitalizes the body and keeps you going strong. Water is life. Water gives life. Drink Awake Purified Drinking Water, one for life. So relax and unwind, and in the calmness of nature, find the rest you desire. For every bottle of Awake you buy, an amount to be donated to the National Cardiothoracic Center. This advert is said.
Welcome back. Time now for sports. Thierry Nyan is with us. Hello, Thierry.
Thank you very much. Okay. And I'm here.
Yes, take it away.
I wish I could continue, but anyway, it's time for us to do sports here on News 360 with me, Thierry Nyan, and the 2023 edition of 3FM Tour du Ghana approaches, and cyclists across the country getting ready to battle for supremacy. One of those cyclists is Richard Atta, a physically challenged cyclist who competed last year and hopes to defy the odds this year. 3 Sports' Bill Ishen caught up with Atta and told his story.
In the constantly advancing world today, amputees have been competing at the highest level and won significant accolades. Earlier this year, amputee football star Marcin Oleksy won the 2022 Puskás Award with an astonishing scissor kick goal. 3-time Paralympic gold medalist Jeremy Campbell has been without a leg since he was a year old. And Kelly Cartwright has been making a name for herself with a prosthetic in the 100 meters and long jump. Richard Atta, a 37-year-old Ghanaian, is also hoping to make an impact despite his challenges. Atta lost his left arm in 2001 following a ghastly accident and has been living in a kiosk at Ofankor for almost a decade. He wasn't always a cyclist. He worked as an auto electrician in the late 90s, but after losing his arm and a job, he was forced to pursue a different career.
After my arm was amputated, the trotro mates and drivers thought I didn't have money.
so I used to go for regular checkup at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. And when I tried to take a trotro, the mates tell me that there are no empty seats, while there were always seats in the bus. I used to cry a lot, and so when I came home, I bought a bicycle, and eventually I became happy using it.
Atta trains on the dangerous streets of Accra on a daily basis, confidently rubbing shoulders with different vehicles. His rigorous training regime has helped him travel long distances with his trusty bicycle. A notable one was from Accra to Koforidua and back to Accra, a 154.8-kilometer journey.
Okay, fans Accra to who? And a long bet.
Long journeys, Accra to Ho, was one long journey I took. I go to Koforidua and return. I go to Akosombo and return. But Accra to Ho was a long one. I have done 160 kilometers in journey time before. I've even done 240 kilometers. I did that with the whites.
Atta competed in the 3FM Tour du Ghana competition last year, a two-day event held for professional and amateur cyclists. He went up against 119 cyclists and earned huge praise for his resilience despite falling short of the ultimate.
A Nigerian woman helped me to compete at the Tour du Ghana event last year. She asked me if I could do it, and I said yes. She promised to register me, and I thanked her. So she did the registration for me. When we were about to start the event, I woke up early and met her at Etekwashi.
Another title shot gone for Isaac Dogbe following his defeat to Ramirez in Tulsa, Oklahoma during the weekend. Will the Ghanaian have another title shot anytime soon? TV Sports' Oreku Ampofo takes a look.
Can he bring it home? And he sends him off balance. And a knockdown is scored.
Isaac Dogbe had a lifetime opportunity to annex the WBO featherweight world title on Saturday against Robisi Ramirez, but lost unanimously. The 28-year-old was dominated by his opponent and couldn't recover from a shaky start, with the judges scoring the bout 117 to 110, 118 to 109, and 119 to 108, all in favor of the Cuban. Dogbe's trainer Barry Hunter admitted the Ghanaian allowed Ramirez too much room during the bout.
If you notice, every time Robisi would try to throw his left hand either under or over, as long as Isaac was rotating away from it to his left, he had problems with it. But there were times when we had him trapped, because he got hit with some good shots. Times when we had him trapped, I wanted Isaac to be more of a bully. Make it rough for him, make him feel uncomfortable. If you let him set up, you let him take his time, that play into his favor.
Despite losing out on the WBO featherweight title, Dogbe challenged Ramirez to show he's a true champion by granting a rematch. However, as things stand, Ramirez's team doesn't see any immediate benefits of a rematch.
No, I don't see it happening. There's really no need. I mean, at the end of the day, Robesi's earned the title, and it was big unanimous decision. Dogbe has been at 3 of these, I think, now, and winning 1 of them. There's really no upside, I believe, for us. So if they force it, but of course Robesi will take the fight, but I just don't see the upside at this point.
If there's no rematch, it will open up the possibilities for Isaac Dogbe, who has made a promise to his fans that he will be back on the big stage in no time.
But then down the stretch of the 12th round.
All right, so that'll be all for the sports here on News 360 with me, Thierry Nyan. We'll bring you some more sports subsequently right here on TV3. It's Monday, so at 9 p.m., there's Sports Station. Stay tuned to TV3.
3 Business, in association with the Africa Center for Energy Policy (ACEP) and the Imani Center for Policy and Education, presents the Economic Sustainability Summit, a meeting of high-powered critical thinkers, problem solvers, and economic gurus. Join Benjamin Boachi of ACEP, Professor Bokbin, University of Ghana, David Ofosudote, ABN David Africa, Senyo Hosi, Cleveland Tove, Doris Ahiati, Executive Coach, and Kwame Pienim, renowned economist. Make a date with us at the Marriott Hotel Airport on Tuesday, 4th April 2023 at 10 o'clock a.m. The 3 Business Economic Sustainability Summit, powered by 3FM and TV3.
Entertainment News segment is brought to you by Awake Purified Drinking Water and powered by 3 Entertainment.
Good evening and welcome to the Entertainment News segment here on News 360. My name is Noel. And on to our first story. The TV3 and 3FM Shy and Amateur Fair expedition was definitely one for the books. Now, the trip, which came off over the weekend, had patrons express the excitement for the memorable and adventurous experience. Now, they called for more of such trips to boost domestic tourism. If you missed it, here are some highlights.
All was set to take off for the Major Fair and Shy expedition as the team gathered at the premises of TV3 on Saturday morning. Per the roadmap, the first port of call was the Shy Hills Resource Reserve.
Breakfast time, we're here at the museum aspect. We're going to get something to our system before we begin officially what will be a very exciting day here with the safari drive at the Shy Hills Reserve.
After a sumptuous breakfast, it was time to begin the adventure, visiting the Mogo Hill, the museum and other attractions at the reserve.
Here currently at the Agdome Bridge, built in 1955 through to 1956 and unveiled by Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. We're going to be making that journey across the bridge and heading into the Volta region proper, where we'll be going to our Major Fair and our last big activity going up to Mount Gemi, and as well checking out the Oti Falls and finally that canopy walk.
From the Agdome Bridge, Mount Gemi in Major Fair was the next destination. To the team, getting to the peak of the mountain was the ultimate goal.
It's very amazing trip, I think, for all of us. We are having a good fun and then experience to seeing different places of Ghana, the beauty of the Ghana, and also promoting local tourism here.
It was fun. TV3. I woke up at 3 just to make this day. Honestly, I'm happy to be here today. Very excited. More of this should come. I think every holiday we have in Ghana, TV3 should do more organization of this.
Tough one and challenging. In fact, I saw people struggling, but I think this promotes our health too. So I'll encourage everybody to actually join this program next time as we embark on another one.
That was definitely an unforgettable experience. Now, on to some more stories. 2 contestants, Lifa and Mayfred, were on Sunday evicted from TV3's kids reality show, Talented Kids. Now, unfortunately, they could not make it to the finals. Now, their eviction leaves 6 contestants to battle it out for the bragging rights as the winner of season 14 of Talented Kids.
After weeks of auditions, intense performances and eliminations, the stage is set for the grand finale of Talented Kids Season 14. The pains and the scary moments of eviction are all over after 2 contestants, Lifa and Mayfred, said their goodbyes after the last eviction show.
No matter where you find yourself in life, you don't let
other people's opinion of you determine how far you should or you can go. So many people didn't win talent hunts, but they became even better artists and more successful artists than the ones that came first. So, you are going home, but don't lose hope.
Don't lose hope, Lifer.
6 kids' talents have booked their way to the finale after sailing through the final eviction last Sunday. Eloquent.
Well, that's how we wrap up on the entertainment news segment here on News 360. My name is Noella. I'll be handing over to Portia now.
National news.
Former President Donald Trump is traveling to New York for his expected Manhattan court appearance Tuesday to be arraigned following last week's historic grand jury indictment. Trump faces more than 30 counts related to business fraud in the indictment, according to the report. Several media outlets, including CNN, have asked the judge to unseal the indictment and for permission to broadcast Tuesday's proceedings. Trump's legal team has said he will voluntarily surrender to New York law enforcement and plans to mount legal challenges. Trump, who has vowed to continue his 2024 bid despite the charges, and his allies have already torn into the grand jury's decision. Trump is the first current or former president in U.S. history who has faced criminal charges. The district attorney's office has been investigating Trump's alleged role in a hush money payment scheme involving adult film star Stormy Daniels.
And that's how we bring the bulletin to an end. Thank you very much for spending your last hour with us. My name is Martin Esiedu Date.
And I am Portia Gabo. For more news updates, log on to our website, 3news.com.